You know why I want to cry sometimes, Jad? You know, I get so sad. China, with a population larger than the population of Africa, for example, don't they need Kenya? How will they feed the Chinese population? How will the Chinese people get engagement, jobs, and what have you, if they don't have Kenya and other countries? We don't need China. It's China that needs us. If somebody like Kagame got tired and just invaded Congo and knocked it down and took it over, that can end it. But this is the 21st century. Murudi hapa. Hapa. Tukanyaganiane hapa. Tukanyaganie hapa. Mpaka hizi nchi za Afrika zikuwe nzuri.
A very good day to you and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Gerald Kibero. It is always a joy, it is always a pleasure to have you joining us for our political conversations here. Conversations we say we hope will help our political leaders in making better policy decisions and informed political moves. I'm here with Prof. Herman Manyora. Great to see you. How are you doing? I'm
doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well too. So much is happening in the country, but also in Africa. We are looking at ourselves as independent nations within this continent now that Trump is in power. President Uhuru Kenyatta comes and says, why are people crying that funds are not being given to us? The donor aid from America, the grants that were there. As people are saying Trump isn't the best leader. When you look at the global, way of looking at how to ensure that every person feels like they are, their human rights are not being violated to some extent. Now that we are taking AIDS, drugs, this is ARVs, we're taking malaria from USAID, helping people here in Kenya. Is Uhuru right in some way, saying that because we don't pay taxes in America, we should not expect anything from them?
Yeah, Uhuru is very right, more than right. I read somewhere yesterday, is it Botswana or some other country? They are saying if America stops aid, I think there's some reversal in that decision I've had. But if they go ahead and stop providing aids, they'll still, the people should not worry. The government will still provide ARVs. I think it's Botswana.
Okay.
And that's the way to go, and that's what Uhuru is saying. Why do you want to depend on people even for small things? In fact, many of the things we are given are things we can do ourselves. We steal more money than we get from outside. We squander more money than we get in aid in terms of these small little things. Yeah.
Why is it taking us so long? We're still dependent. What is that problem that we haven't noticed? Before we even talk about, I want us to talk about DRC too, but why is it taking us so long to, make our own medicine here in Kenya?
But you see, it's a question of leadership. A country must have a vision to be a great nation. Lee Kuan Yew wanted to drive Singapore from a poor, dirty, small third world country. And in his own words, to be able to sit on the same table with the top nations of the world. That was his vision. To turn Singapore from a poor, dirty, third world country into a country that sits on the same table with the leaders of the world. And that's what he did. You have to have the vision.
Where does it, it starts with the vision. We had, Vision 2030.
No, don't forget about that. That's not a vision. Those are things put on paper. A man must dream, a woman must dream to make Kenya a country that can sit on the same table with the United States. That's what can transform this country. We have not had a person like that. From independence, we have just had people whose desire is to just be there and make some little money and accumulate wealth, and that's all, riches. We've never had people who want to transform Africa, transform African countries, to transform. And it's possible. There are countries that have been transformed. Look at Turkey. Look at Morocco. They have had leaders. With Brazil. Look. They have had leaders who have a vision to change their countries. And they do it. Yeah.
If you're thinking, or if you're placed to speak,
not receiving drugs and dregs from the West, and no.
What should be the realization of our president now? Because yes, you're talking about vision, yes, you're talking about leadership, but we will judge him later. You know, what should be his realization now that we're looking at what Trump is doing? And of course,
at a practical level, let's stop stealing our money. Let's stop squandering the money we have. Let's put it to good use. If somebody is using a few billion shillings to buy ARVs to support life, to make people not die from HIV/AIDS, why can't government just do it? Because there is money. The money they steal is more than that. Why can't they check the theft? I'm not saying they stop stealing. If they stop stealing, because theft to them is like breathing, they will die. Let them just steal less. Kidogo too. And we don't need this. When I see small boys running around here from America, purporting to be telling us what to do and supporting us, I always sympathize with ourselves.
And now they are talking.
Some semi-literate boys and girls from America and Europe roaming around this country, purporting to be experts on things that they don't half understand about us, helping us to do things, to develop agriculture, to give us little support in aid, expertise, things we know 10, 20 times more than they do. Money we have more than they can give us. You know, it is really sad.
Hi, my name is Eileen Akal, and I'm the head of training at Center for Innovative Technology Limited, SciTech. If you finish your Form 4 and you would like to enter into an engineering field, architectural field, or any related field, please come to SciTech. We will train you how to be industry ready. We will also train you how to make engineering drawings. We will train you how to draw using the software.
I did my degree in China for 4 years. After I finish my degree, I come back to my country, Kenya. But the knowledge I find in SciTech, it's much, much better than the 4 years I spent in China.
We can empower a lot of young people in Kenya to gain gainful employment. And I want to speak to parents out there. If you have a child who's just done fourth form, between the time they do their exams and the time they enter tertiary education, there are so many months there they waste. Bring them here. In those short months, they will gain skills that they can use to advance their careers, to start their own even private companies. They can find work online. And when they go to university, they'll be so way ahead of their peers.
Welcome to SciTech.
According to Gachagua, there are two people that come to State House almost every day and talk to the president about some deals. And then there are these Americans who came, some of them are convicted. I believe one of them was a convict in State House. And everyone is wondering, who are these people with the president? If you're asked about President Ruto and his war against corruption, or President Ruto in trying to make Kenya work, how would you answer that?
One, you cannot make a country work if the country is stifled with corruption, with theft. You must release those funds from the hands of the thieves to be able to develop a country. So development and corruption cannot be the same sentence. Because the money you need to develop a country is being stolen and squandered. Then how can you develop the country? The two cannot go together. They are mutually exclusive. Theft of public sources and the development. You can't.
You haven't brought President Ruto in that answer. What do you think he's doing? Because everyone is thinking these guys, some of them are convicts, some of them have shoddy, you know.
Those are his friends. What do I have to do with Ruto's friends? What? I mean,
so for Kenyans thinking, why is the president with these people? You just tell them.
Doesn't concern me.
Should it concern Kenyans that they are convicts in State House?
It should concern them in 2027.
If they want these things to end.
The company their president is keeping is not good company, then they should remove him from power.
Talk to me then about this.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. I know you're making it simple, and it is actually. Yeah. But you know, some of them are Americans, and everyone is talking about American influence in Africa. And then you talk about DRC, the war is still continuing, I believe 30 years into it. The east side, the Rwanda versus, Congo.
M23 and the rest.
What is your thinking
yes.
What is your thinking about it? Because some are saying even Uganda is somehow involved.
DRC is Africa. What you see in DRC is what exactly is happening in every African state, except in DRC, is dramatic. It is the epitome of it all. It is dramatic. It is a representative. It symbolizes that which is killing Africa. That a piece of Africa is being chipped away, and what wanakata pieces wanaenda nayo Europe, China, Japan, everywhere. What you see in DRC is what is happening in Africa. Well, it's just the scale. It's just the dramatic aspect. It's just the shamelessness, the naked theft, plunder.
Shamelessly.
Yeah, you see here they do it in some subtle way, but it's the same thing. They are taking away all your resources. What of our resource is not being taken by the West and the East? Tell me one. The coffee, the tea, everything you do from your farms goes to Europe and America to feed them or to be processed to bring back to you. All the minerals that God put under the earth for you, whether they be here, are you the one mining anything in this country? Sina mining one of foreigners. Ama ni wongo?
In that conversation, people
So, they are doing the same in DRC, but in a dramatic scale. On a dramatic scale.
Why do you think it has taken that long? I believe now President Ruto is the chair of EAC. He convened a meeting. Why are we as East Africans unable to deal with this situation? Just call Kagame here, call President of Congo, and try to agree.
Let me tell you, and in a book I'm writing, capturing my reflections, I argue that we are trying to do things which others did using force. Yeah.
In what way? We're trying to do things which others did through force.
Yeah. As Bismarck said, the question of the day shall not be decided by empty words or rhetoric in parliament, but by blood and iron. That's Bismarck in German. And that's why German ended up being united. People don't know, just a couple of years ago, less than 200 years ago, I think, German was a geographical expression. So was Italy. There was no country called Italy or German. Yeah, in other words, when some leaders were misbehaving, people just walked in and slapped them and called everybody to order. What am I saying in practical terms? If this was 1850 or 1910, Kenya, Uganda would just put up an army and go to DRC and beat everybody up and run it for 20 or 50 years. That's how. This is how all these countries sorted out these problems. We are trying to sort out these problems by thinking we can talk. It can't work. It'll be very difficult. It is so difficult.
Whichever delegate, whichever
so
diplomat.
What will help DRC? If a man or woman takes over power in DRC with a vision to end the nonsense in DRC, it will end. It will just take one person. Today, people like Patrice Lumumba try to make sense out of this rich country. But the Americans and the CIA and the rest of those people wouldn't allow it. This is declassified information. We now know. Of course, we always knew. But since it's now there for everybody to see, that's what. So if a man came to DRC with the intention not to be a puppet of the West, to help the West continue exploiting DRC, but to make sure the resources of DRC are enjoyed by the people of DRC as given to them by their creator, it will happen. But for people to sit in Nairobi here, virtual meeting, it won't work. These are not things you decide in using empty words in some room.
And therefore we go back to where we started, vision and leadership.
Yeah, simple. For DRC, there are only two ways. This talking will never help. The people on the table have ulterior motives. The people trying to solve the problem are benefiting in one way or the other. So they will not want that problem to end. So that will not help.
Okay.
EACC, UN, United Nations, they will never solve that problem because they are interested in the plan of DRC. So there are only two ways you can end that resource. If somebody like Kagame got tired and just invaded Congo and knocked it down and took it over, That can end it. But this is the 21st century. You most likely won't do that. But it is possible. It's how these other countries solved all their problems. But the more workable problem to me, so the solution to me, is for one man to take over leadership in
DRC.
DRC. One man or one woman to take over and say, this is our country. God has given us a lot of resources. Others are coming to exploit the resources, making us kill each other. As we are fighting, they are taking our resources. That is going to come to an end today. And what we have, we shall exploit ourselves, perhaps in partnership with people, in the manner in which Gaddafi did. And then our friends will be our friends, and we shall have mutual benefit in whatever we do for each of us, whether it's Japan, it's China, America, they will be our friends. We'll work together. But the number one person to benefit from what is in DRC will be the person God put in this place called DRC.
Maybe finally, when you look at Africa, we talk about puppets. Maybe Ruto is making affordable housing shifsha because it's being controlled by globalists. And this has been the conversation in different countries. Do you feel like we are in a place where we can say we are indeed independent, such that a person with vision and leadership can be able to actually implement some of the things that are good for us as
Yeah,
Africans?
it's possible. It's possible because it has been very difficult. And if you are Gaddafi, they will finally have to get rid of you. Because the things you are doing, they can't accept. They can't allow you to make your country a wonderful, beautiful place to live in. If you have a black skin or some skin that doesn't look like theirs. But now in the 21st century, it is quite possible that a visionary leader can see through their vision without being knocked down by the West. A bit of that is already happening in West Africa and Central Africa, those areas, those so-called rebel states, Burkina Faso, Mali, and
Botswana now.
yeah, it's happening. It's happening in Central Latin America. There are countries that have defied the West, and they are doing their thing, and they are turning their countries around. So yes, it can happen. Today, if somebody visionary took over, Kenya, for example, I'm not saying Uhuru was not visionary, Moi or Ruto. I'm not going that direction. But I'm just saying the kind sort of person I have in mind. If they took over this country and they say in 10 years, Kenya will be able to sit down in the League of Nations with the top leaders of the world and talk like equals. And Kenya will be the one will be the one to receive the Chinese president here coming to beg. Because strictly speaking, between Kenya and China, who needs the other? You know why I want to cry sometimes, Jad? You know, I get so sad. China with a population larger than the population of Africa, for example. Don't they need Kenya? How will they feed the Chinese population? How will the Chinese people get engagement, jobs, and what have you, if they don't have Kenya and other countries? We don't need China. It's China that needs us. They should come and beg us. Beg. On their knees. It is Europe that needs Africa. Africa doesn't need Europe. It is the other way around.
Yeah.
I mean, we are putting logic on its head and telling logic now, take a walk. How can you walk on your head? Yeah, and you have your feet. Walking on your feet is simply being realistic, seeing the truth. And what is the truth? That it is Europe that needs Africa.
Yeah.
It's America that needs Africa. It's China that needs Africa. It's not the other way around.
Someone was saying that
We have nothing we need from them.
Uganda, with all those sanctions,
Yeah.
they're still living, they're still eating,
Yeah.
they're still sleeping.
Because look here, Jad. If something happened and we said, okay, fine, like what Corona happened and people were kept in their countries. If something similar happened, a little worse, a little more scaled up, and nobody's able to go to other people's country, who will die? Something just happened like Corona, and for 5 years, you can't leave Africa. You can't leave Europe. If you are in Europe, you stay in Europe. If you are in China, you stay in China. Who will die? Who will be the first to die?
It's them.
See, they will die. There will be no employment in America. There will be no, if there's nobody for America to exploit across the world, how will they? How? They need to markets for their finished products. They need raw material for their finished product. Where will they get those things?
They get food from us.
Yeah. So we will be here. We may not drive the Mercedes-Benz. We may not have fancy things initially, but they say where there's a will, there's a way. We will make those things finally. But in the meantime, tutakula ugali tu. Tutakuja ka ugali.
Like a shebebe.
Uji seveve.
Yeah.
Uji ya wimbi.
Yeah.
Gekwa huko Meru.
Yeah.
Wakina Faith, si ndio?
Yeah.
Masai huyu anaitwa nani, Ryan, anakaendelea kukamua ng'ombe yake tu. Without all this technology and everything else, nature will regenerate itself. And Africa will be able to have sufficient food for themselves. You know?
Yeah.
So I want people to thank Trump. I'm asking Africans to thank Trump. If they heard Trump was coming to Africa, they should have a red carpet for him. They should clean the roads for Trump. Because it's a wake-up call. It's what Uhuru is telling you, people. You have everything. You don't need America. You steal everything from your countries and then go begging to America, and you have everything, then you steal, you squander. You clap for those who steal from you. You vote them into office. Then you want to die going to America. I want Kenyans in America to be expelled. Illegal immigrants. Let them come back here. Yeah. You spoil your country. You let others squander your country, plunder your country, steal everything. You clap for them. Then you go to America as an illegal immigrant. Wewe unaharibu nchi yako, unachangia. You contribute towards making Kenya what it is. Making Zambia what it is. Making Malawi what it is. Then you go to America. Come back to Africa. Trump is a good man. When history is finally written, Trump will be thanked by Africans. Because he's telling them, do not allow your leaders to plunder your countries. There's plenty within your borders. Our national anthem says, plenty be found within our borders. That line is wrong. There already is plenty within our borders. Let's have it in a meaningful way. Let's not be too greedy. Let's not steal. Let's share. Let's take our children to school. Let's provide for them. Let's have health care, because there's plenty within our borders. So we allow people to plunder and squander what is ours. Then we go to other countries. People in those countries have held their leaders to account, and therefore there's plenty within their borders. Murudi hapa tukanyaganiane hapa tukanyagania hapa mpaka hizi nchi za Afrika zikuwe nzuri, tusiende kusumbua wa Amerika. Unanielewa vizuri?
Let's wrap it up at that particular place. Thanks for tuning in. Will we have that leader, that visionary leader? But plenty is within our borders, and yes, indeed, we can actually make this country work. Thanks for tuning in. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.